The devastating KwaZulu-Natal floods in April this year washed away fences and walls at Crocodile Creek Farm, resulting in an unknown number of crocodiles escaping.
At the height of the floods, the water was coming through at this level. So it was over 55 meters. But fortunately, we had this large gate here. And I think this saved this fence because a lot of the water came through, all the roots and everything are all washed in one direction. Fortunately, the last fence held and it just opened in two corners where crocs got out. Had that have gone, we would have had 500 crocodiles in the Tongaat River.
We're down here at the bottom of Crocodile Creek's waterfall, and up there you can see the gabions and everything that were replaced after the flood. But the problem was the crocodiles came down that bank through between where the water's falling all the way down here. So I brought a small one just to give you some idea. This crocodile weighs about 8 or 9 kilos and it's 5 years old. The crocodiles we were working with were about 35 years old, weighing between 150 and 400 kilos that had got out. And these crocodiles had come down into this valley, which we had to race through the bush and catch them on a rope. So we had to rope it, drag it up this bank with the crocodile flicking around and then getting it up an 11-meter bank up there. So a lot of improvisation had to come in with big shutters and shutter planks so that we could drag the crocodile up the bank to put it back in the pen. So when you're working with crocodiles, remember you're not only watching for this huge mouth that's violently quick. You've got this big heavy tail and you've got these 4 incredibly strong legs that will dig in soon as you start pulling the crocodile. And as soon as you pull the crocodile will automatically go into a death roll. So we spent 4 or 5 days, every minute of the day, running through the reeds here, finding crocodiles, stepping this deep in the reeds with water below you and problems with crocodiles that could end up biting. Out in the wild, we set a number of traps and those crocodiles went into those traps on baited meat and we were able to retrieve them and bring them back to the crocodile farm. None of these that were down here, some of them are the ones that came back on their own, and some of them were in the beginning, straight after the flood, that we were bringing back, and all those crocodiles were all caught by hand. Rope over the top jaw, tied it, threw a sack over the crocodile, jumped it, dragged it up to the top. So yeah, so it's a lot of hard work working with crocodiles. But you can see the devastation here. That big rock up there used to be further up the bank. The water is incredibly powerful and the crocodiles just slide with the flow. They design, they streamline, they work very, very well in water. They're designed for that.
There was one big crocodile trapped upside down between 2 rocks. We ignored it because we thought it was dead. There was a torrent of water going over its head and we assumed it was drowned. And we spent about 3 or 4 hours catching, I think, 4 or 5 crocodiles and hauling them up the waterfall area. And then Sean went over to have a look at the one that's big male. And it opened an eye and we realized it was still alive. It took us about an hour and a half to actually get it. It was wedged between the rocks to get it out and not get bitten at the same time. We eventually lifted it with a front end loader and a rope, took it back, put it in an enclosure, and I watched it for about 3/4 of an hour. And I said to the staff, tomorrow we'll skin it. And about an hour after we'd put it there, I got up and walked away, and I'm delighted to say it survived the ordeal. I can only think that when its head was upside down in the water, every so often it could get a breath, because crocs can also hold their breath underwater, or not hold their breath, but use the oxygen in their body for about 2 hours. So maybe it could take some oxygen and hold it for a period of time. It's always interesting as to why would crocodiles come back. You know, everybody has this idea of freedom, and a lot of the so-called bunny huggers always say, oh, it's terrible, they're being kept in captivity, etc. But it's interesting they came back on their own. And the reason I would say is, one, it looked like a good idea taking the opportunity to get outside the fence. But once you're out there, nobody gives you food once a week or twice a week. You have to now catch your own. Secondly, you've left your wife and family behind. Maybe you're missing them. Maybe you're missing your friends. But it's not uncommon for crocodiles, when they get out, to be found on the outside of the fence in close proximity to where they've been living. Virtually all these crocodiles were born in captivity, probably 95% on this farm. So this is all they know. This is their environment.